one thing that week 4 or up until week 4 has shown me is there's no dominant team in the league. Every single team has the flaw that could hold them back. I mean, the 49ers, the quarterback position, the Chiefs, their secondary Tom Brady was eating them Jones up. Like, the secondary is not that good. Baltimore, they can't sustain a lead to save their life. The Eagles, even though they are the best roster, as we saw being down, going down 14-0 against the Jaguars, they can fall into laws offensively. Jalen Hurts can kind of go into his, oh, shoot, what are you doing, Jalen bag, and it could cost them. The Bills. I thought the Bills, even though they are 3-1, I thought the Bills were just going to run through the league. No, the last 2 weeks, they've struggled. I don't know if it's their run game can't get right, bro. Their running game, it was able to sustain them last year, but they do not have a run game, bro. Even with Devin Singletary and Cook. No. There's not a dominant team, bro. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not good teams. Like, hell, the Chiefs are a really good team. The Bills, the Eagles, the Packers, and of course, their wide receiver core. There's the Rams and their I don't understand how. One of the biggest reasons why I think that there's not a Super Bowl hangover when we talk about the Rams, even though they did win, is because the same Rams that you saw last year is what we're seeing this year. You see, the Rams went on a just like the Cincinnati Bengals. The Rams went on a hot streak. They went the end of the season to the playoffs. They just caught fire, same as the Cincinnati Bengals. But the Rams that we saw in the regular season weren't that good on defense. Outside of Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, they weren't that good, even with Von Miller. And they were a little too dependent on Cooper Rush. Even though Cooper Rush had a historic year last year, they were a little too dependent on Cooper Rush. And they also had Odell Beckham Jr. towards the end of the season. Now, what are we seeing? The Rams, a little over dependent on Cooper Rush. You don't get Allen Robinson the ball that much. Cam Akers is falling off a freaking cliff. And the defense is not good. Even with Jalen Ramsey, even with Aaron Donald, the defense is not that good. So there's not a dominant team. There's good teams, but there's not a dominant team. And I think that that's what's going to play out for the rest of the year. I don't think we're going to get a lot of blowouts because I think that these games are a lot like, think about it. Let's look. The worst blowout that we probably saw this week was probably Washington. They lost by 15. Well, no. Let's say the 49ers and Rams, 24-9. The Rams didn't even score a touchdown. But looking on paper and looking from what we've seen this year, do you think that the Rams and the 49ers are that much drastically different, or do you think that the 49ers just has their number? Or what we saw Thursday night, Dolphins against the Bengals. Do you think that there's a drastic difference for that? I just don't think that there's drastic differences. Now, yes, there's that drastic difference between the Bills and the Falcons, but there's not a dominant team. There's good teams. Don't get me wrong. There's really good teams, but there's not a dominant team. So the parity that people have been asking for, I think we're going to get this year.